I'm Jason Mollen.
And I'm Jenny Biggs. Oh God, I don't like being Jenny Biggs. I don't know.
After 17 years together, Jason Biggs and Jenny Mollen are no longer the Hollywood couple fans thought they knew. For years, they built a public image around brutal honesty, chaotic humor, marriage, parenting, and the kind of unfiltered confessions most celebrity couples would never dare to share. But now, behind the jokes and the public appearances, something has clearly changed. Their separation is not being presented as a screaming scandal or a messy public war. And that is exactly what makes it feel even more serious. Because sometimes, the quietest breakups reveal the deepest cracks. The question now is simple, but uncomfortable. How did a couple known for laughing through the chaos reach the point where they could no longer stay together romantically? Was this a sudden break, or was it the result of years of pressure, personal growth, and private distance slowly building behind the scenes? And more importantly, what does this separation say about a relationship that was once built on being completely honest in public? Jason Biggs and Jenny Mollen had been together for 17 years. They married in 2008 and later became parents to 2 children. To many fans, they were not just another celebrity couple. They were the messy, funny, unpredictable pair who seemed willing to say the things other couples kept hidden. Jason was already known for his work in comedy, especially through American Pie, while Jenny became recognized as an actress, writer, and outspoken personality with a sharp, fearless voice. Together, they turned their relationship into something audiences could follow. They joked about marriage. They talked about parenting. They shared strange, awkward, and sometimes brutally honest stories about their life together. That honesty became part of their appeal. But now, according to the source, the couple has split, and the announcement has changed the way many people look back at everything they shared publicly. What made this story explode was not just the separation itself. Celebrity breakups happen all the time. But this one hit differently, because Jason and Jenny had built their public identity around being real with each other and with the audience. They were not selling a perfect fairy tale. They were selling the opposite: imperfection, chaos, humor, and survival. That is why the news feels so personal to fans. People watched them for years and believed they were seeing the raw version of a marriage that somehow worked. Their jokes made the relationship feel strong because they could laugh at the hard parts. But now, the split forces people to ask whether those jokes were always just jokes, or whether they sometimes pointed to something more complicated underneath. At first, what the public saw was a couple who seemed comfortable exposing the messy side of love. They did not act polished or overly careful. Their relationship seemed loud, strange, and honest. In interviews and public moments, they leaned into the idea that marriage was not always romantic or easy, but still worth fighting for. And that was the first layer of the drama: the image of 2 people who appeared to survive by telling the truth. But that's where things started to change. Because when a couple becomes known for turning private life into public entertainment, the line between honesty and performance can get blurry. Fans laughed at the stories. They connected with the chaos. But the question now is whether the relationship itself became harder to separate from the public version of it. The second layer is the silence behind the comedy. A couple can joke about tension and still be deeply connected, but a couple can also use humor to make difficult things easier to say. And after a while, the audience may not know the difference. Then came the part that made the story feel more emotional. This does not appear to be a breakup built on public hatred. There is no dramatic war being described. No explosive accusation dominates the story. Instead, the separation appears quieter, with the focus moving toward family and co-parenting. And that makes the situation more complicated, because without a clear villain, fans are left with a more painful possibility. Maybe 2 people can love each other, build a life, raise children, survive many years together, and still reach a point where the romantic relationship no longer works. Jason Biggs is being viewed by many through the lens of a performer who grew up publicly in comedy and fame. His career made him recognizable to millions, but fame also brings pressure. Jenny Mollen, meanwhile, is seen as someone who built a voice around honesty and sharp self-expression. She was not just Jason Biggs' wife to her audience. She had her own identity, her own career, and her own public personality. Together, they were funny because they were unpredictable. Separately, this new chapter may force people to see them less as a brand and more as two individuals trying to move forward. The stakes are bigger than a simple celebrity headline. Their reputation as a couple was part of what made fans invested in them. Their family life, their public image, and their long history are all tied into this moment. When a relationship lasts 17 years, a separation is not just an ending. It is a restructuring of an entire life. But the most important twist is that the lack of public chaos may actually be the most revealing detail. In Hollywood, breakups often become battles. This one appears more controlled, more careful, and more focused on the children. That does not make it less sad. It may make it more mature. Still, one question remains. If Jason Biggs and Jenny Mollen, a couple who seemed to survive by being honest about everything, reached this point, what was happening behind the scenes that the audience never truly saw?